Trump foray into the Bronx and other hot topics that we're going to talk about tonight. But be sure to tune in to our voices each and every Sunday at 7 o'clock p.m. Central, 8 Eastern. We would like for you to participate. We would like for you to participate in the conversation. Make a comment on our Facebook page, and we will answer your question or read your comment on air. Calls are accepted on Sunday only. During the show, we ask that you be respectful to us, and we will be respectful toward you. We as hosts has comment, opinions, and facts that you may or may not agree with. We want you to fact check, Google, or research any topic that we present on the show. We need to hear all sides, so if there's something that we say that you have additional insight on or just want to make a comment, we welcome your input. For change in the world to happen, we must talk about it, hear from all sides, then make an informed decision. And we'll go to our host, Derek Scott, who is the chair of the Scammy Democrat Party. We have Mr. Bill Snow, who is the author of the great book, From the Project to the Boardroom. Mr. Vernon Watson, who is the owner of WBQP TV, and where you'll be watching this show along with Roku, Fire Stick, and YouTube, and as well as our Facebook pages. We have a guest, and I'm going to let Derek introduce our guest, but we have Jill and Christina. Are they off tonight?
Well, I will say we have to give a good evening, everybody. First, let me start there and say we have we have to give Christina special grace. If you guys don't remember her youngest son, she is full of graduation times. Her oldest graduating from college the other week, and now this weekend she is celebrating the graduation of our youngest son, Jonah, from Navarre High School here locally. So she's got family in town and is celebrating that momentous milestone with loved ones. So congratulations to Jonah and the Forrest family. And Jill, I think she might be tied up with the conference stuff, I would assume. So hopefully she'll be joining shortly. But I would like to just start out by saying hello to everybody. Hope everybody's had a great week. We are privileged enough this evening to have with us someone who I'm very excited about. If you recall, just a few weekends ago, Jill and Christine and I were in Orlando for the Florida Democratic Party Leadership Blue Weekend. And you heard me every week talk about our need for candidates and qualified candidates to represent Escambia County, Northwest Florida, the Panhandle, and this great state, so we can see the change that we so desperately need in 2024. Well, during that weekend, we were privileged enough, and I'll give all credit to my counterpart, the chair over in Santa Rosa County, Ms. Sandy Smith, for bringing someone who was interested in running for Florida State House or Florida State Senate District 1. If you know, that is a seat that is currently occupied by Doug Broxson. He's termed out, and right now the only person who is looking to fill that seat, well, the only person that was looking to fill that seat was Don Gates, or Daddy Gates, as you know. So we were fortunate enough to be introduced to this wonderful woman, this Lisa Newell, out of Gulf Breeze, who was strongly considering a run for that seat so that Daddy Gates just doesn't walk into that seat. And I guess, I'll say kudos to the Florida Democratic Party, because they must have given her enough courage and oomph to decide to run for the seat. So I am privileged enough to introduce Lisa Newell, who is the Democratic candidate for the Florida State Senate District 1, and I will allow her to tell us a little bit about herself and go from there.
Well, thank you, Derek, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. I was very interested because I was watching those races and I saw that we didn't have a Democratic candidate. And I have been in the newspaper industry for a long time, covering these races and seeing who's running. And so many times I see that we can't field a Democratic candidate. And I did not want to see that happen again with Don Gates specifically, because Don has already served 2 terms in the Senate. And his son is currently the congressman. I don't really think we need to have a father and son team. They've already tried that out. They did that back in the day when Don was in the Senate and Matt was in the House. So I really thought that we could find someone to fill that seat. I just didn't think it was right for someone to decide they were going to serve as our senator and then walk into that seat. So yes, I did contact Sandy. I asked her who was going to run. I had no intention of being the candidate. However, I did attend Florida Blue and met so many wonderful people, and I got very energized because I do believe that there's a lot of momentum right now. This is a great opportunity for young people who are probably going to vote heavily. I believe that those people are not going to vote another term for Donald Trump, for Rick Scott. I don't believe they're going to vote for Don Gates. I really believe they're going to stand up for their rights as women, for the abortion amendment and for the marijuana amendment. I just think it's a great opportunity to show the power of the Democrats in this area that has for such a long time just been dominated by Republicans. So I just wanted to throw my hat in the ring, and I think it's going to be a great time. Everyone I know who's ever run for office has said it's a great experience, and win or lose, it was a wonderful opportunity to get to know their community. And I'm very curious. I think I'm a lifelong learner. As a journalist, I love to learn more about our area. So I'm looking forward to it.
Are you from the coast here, Ms. Newell?
I have lived in the area since I was 16 years old. So yes, I've been here a long time. I did leave a couple of times, but this area draws you back. So I'm
Okay,
back.
10 years.
And,
wow, nice.
yes, very long time.
So what are your top priorities as policy priorities?
There's so many things that I saw come out of our legislature this year that I thought were ridiculous. And so I'm very willing to help bring some common sense back to our legislature. Some of the things that they did were just outrageous with all of the uproar over the book banning and everything like that. Of course, one of my top priorities has got to be our insurance crisis. Everyone that I talk to, they may not necessarily feel that they are affected by the abortion amendment. They may not feel that they're affected by many things, but they are feeling very much the insurance. People are just, it's going to wreck our economy is what it's going to do, because we can't afford to go out to eat. We can't afford to, we're going to have to dip into our savings to pay our house notes and our insurance. It's going to be a crisis if we don't get this under control.
I just understand that this past week, Florida has allowed 8 more insurance companies to get into the Florida market.
I have heard that. One of the things I found out was that they are going to change the way that the litigation is done, and that they're going to allow these insurance companies to not have to pay if there's a litigant. And that means that that's going to be a further burden on the victims of the insurance agents industry. If you have a home that's messed up and you can't get your insurance company to pay you've been paying your premiums, but they won't pay. Now suddenly you're going to have to find and secure an attorney out of your own pocket, which the insurance companies are loving that, because that means that most people are going to say, I can't afford it. And then they're just going to get away with whatever they want. Again, this is another way of victimizing the victim, and that's not the way to fix it.
Can you back up a second? What now? What are they? I know you said they're not gonna. The insurance company, loving not being have to pay, but what is the legislation that they are doing? I mean, as far as allowing them not to be able to pay? What?
Okay. So that came out of a conference that someone was just attending an insurance conference. I don't believe that is legislation. I believe that was a deal that someone was making and telling them that this is a promise. I more than anything a promise that they are going, to get them to come back into the market. So obviously they're making some.
Yeah, and we know insurance is already ridiculous, but by the same token, now, if you get your house tore up and they decide that they don't want to pay, then is the deal that they won't pay, or you have to go out, like you say, out of your own pocket to get a lawyer for them to pay?
That's just what I out of this insurance conference. One of the insurance agents I spoke to said that was what they were going to do to fix the problem. It doesn't sound. I mean, look, it's a crisis. We have to have more insurance companies to cover people. We can't just depend on citizens. But there are other things we need to look at. And one of the things I was researching that could be a good opportunity is to look at the average home price in the state, which is about $450,000, and allow the insurance agencies or insurers to insure up to $450,000. And then if you have a home that's worth more than that, you would have to take that responsibility on either through another insurance agency. But it's just a way to kind of stop the issue from becoming such a crisis right now and exposing these insurance agency or insurers to such losses.
Okay, so I mean, I don't, I know that insurance companies lose some monies, but most of these insurance companies have other, they are insuring others around the country, which can fill that gap that they might have to pay out because of storms, tornadoes, and all of that. But I think that insurance companies, if you're paying higher insurance for your house over $400,000, it's just my personal opinion. I think they should pay that for that property, because that's what you paying insurance for. And I mean, I don't know if that was that's your thinking, or for insurance companies to come back in. Is that what you were thinking, or just
No, that's just one idea. I mean, obviously it's a very complicated issue, but we are paying the highest insurance rates. And like you said, there are other states, that are also in the, getting insurance. What we've got though is that we've got a lot of extra storms. The storms are so much more so much more severe. Now, a state like California, they've got earthquakes, they've got fires, they've got mudslides, they've got every kind of thing under the sun, and still Florida pays higher insurance rates. So we obviously have an issue that we need to grapple with.
Exactly. I know. I know it's a bunch of tornadoes that hit the Midwestern states, in the South, across the South. I'd say the central part of America, across the South, around 14 people, I believe, 14 or 15 people have been killed in those tornadoes. But
horrible.
I mean, it seems like to me that the federal government should step in to make sure. I know we have FEMA, but it seems like to me the federal government, along with the state, and I know the governor here has been atrocious when it comes to making sure that the people property and all is protected here.
Mm-hmm.
How? What is your opinion on the federal government has a hand in making sure, besides FEMA, making sure that the insurance companies don't gouge the people and take all their resources away from them?
Well, currently, the federal government does do our flood insurance. And one of the things that I was reading about in this issue is that it almost encourages people to build on the waterfront, because you say, well, I've got flood insurance, so therefore I'm just going to continue to build in this high risk area. And I know homes are still going up right on the waterfront, even though we know that, you know, the sea levels are rising, things like that. So we are, in a way, if with the federal government doing the flood insurance, it almost encourages people to take those risks and to continue to rebuild in areas that continually get hit. So I'm not sure whether the government is the answer for that.
In it, yeah.
Thank you for that. I would be curious, Lisa, how do you think you and serving in the position as Senate for District 1 would allow you to better advocate for our district?
Well, I do think that we need to have a more common sense approach to what's going on. I think a lot of the things that happened in the legislature last time, we had a supermajority of Republicans, and basically they just served as a rubber stamp for a lot of things that were very unpopular. A lot of the things that they came up with, we just are scratching our heads back here at home saying, why would they do that? And one of the problems I see is that we don't really have a two-party system. That's why I decided to get in this race. We need to have a two-party system because there are extremists on really both sides of everything. What we need to do is have a compromise that meets in the middle and tries to actually get down to business and solve the problems that we have, rather than just continuing to do whatever the whim is. And there's so many things I really believe that we need a two-party system, somebody to advocate for and challenge these ideas that are being put forth.
Vern, you got a question, Vern?
You're muted.
You're on mute.
Let me find my. No, I did all that to say, no, I don't have any questions. I got
That's
concerns.
good, Vern. That's good.
I really have some concerns, about the insurance industry and so forth. So, and my daddy always said the insurance industry nothing but a racket, and I see what he means now. So something got to be done.
You have to have it, though. If you have a mortgage, you have to have insurance. So most of us do have a mortgage.
Yeah.
And I have spoken to many people who have paid off their homes and have elected to go without wind insurance, and they are taking a huge risk.
Yeah. Bill, you had something?
Well, I was going to say, as far as the federal government is concerned and them doing anything, I mean, they should be on the people's side, but I can't see them doing anything when they allow the insurance companies to handle us the way they are handling us. I mean, yeah, they come in after a disaster and say FEMA's going to loan money to whoever needs the money to rebuild. But I mean, goodness gracious, I don't need a loan. I need some real help. And especially when I'm paying insurance, and then on top of me paying an insurance that has quadrupled, I have to come up with 2% of whatever the cost of the damages are. So, I mean, I'm paying all of this money and still have to come up with $5,000, $10,000, possibly $15,000, $20,000 to get my home redone. So it's a travesty that our government doesn't have better systems in place. And then when you really think about it, you got to figure if every mortgage holder in the state of Florida is paying insurance, they're walking away with billions, if not trillions of dollars. Insurance companies are not losing. They're not going to lose. They wouldn't still be doing it. So the four that still exist and the 8 that are coming in, I assure you, it's a racket, no doubt. But for our government to allow us to be done this way, it's just a travesty.
I agree with you. One of the things that one of the agents told me is that some of these insurance companies will come in, collect premiums for so many years. Then when they have to pay out, all of a sudden they're bankrupt. They leave the state. The state has to pick up the tab. A couple of years later, same people come back. Hey, I've got a new company, and now I'm going to start collecting premiums again. So this is a revolving door that is rife with abuse. We don't need that. We need to get that under control. We need to make sure that people are penalized, and that there's a long history of who these people are. When they come back, they're going to have to atone for what they've done. They can't just continue doing this and abusing the system.
Lisa, what you were saying earlier, that is a proposal to do that, or because they have to currently right now they have to change the law right now because the insurance companies would have to pick up responsibility for like public adjusters and so forth now. But as if I understand what you are saying is that it's a proposal for them to come back in, that they will change the law, and they can tell us we have to get our own attorney and so forth. And that in itself, if they give them incentive to deny your claim, because they know that most folks are not going to be able to hire attorneys to get it done, and at their expense. So I'm assuming that's a. Go ahead.
That information came from someone who told me that everything is going to be fine because he had just gone to a big insurance conference, and that's what they were deciding that they were going to do. And apparently, I'm not sure who was speaking there on behalf of this legislation, but it sounded like they were that was the answer that they were given to the insurance companies. And I was like, that doesn't make sense, because now we're just continuing to roll over for these insurance companies. And now they can just continue to collect premiums and never pay out.
Wouldn't there have to be a change in law to do that?
I'm sure they would have to change the law, but here lately you can't. They'll do it. You know, the state is over a barrel. So that's why I want to be a dissenting vote. I want to go and be a dissenting vote.
Exactly. Okay.
I
want to be a dissenting vote on.
I want to move us off of the property insurance. Is certainly something that we could talk ad nauseum about. But what I would like to draw your attention to, Lisa, is we have currently this election cycle, we have 6 amendments that are on the ballot that are facing Floridians this November. 3 of which, well, all of which are important, but 3 I think the state citizens are paying special attention to. Amendment 1, which makes the school board elections partisan. Amendment 3, which is making recreational marijuana usage legal. And Amendment 4, which focuses on women's access to reproductive health care. What's your position on these 3 of the 6 amendments?
Well, starting with Amendment 1, I think our school boards are already getting to be far too political and too partisan. I do not support that. I believe we need to have the best interests of the children and the students, because we need to have an informed and educated electorate so that we can continue to attract good paying jobs to the state. Right now, I'm kind of concerned about what's going on with our school boards. There's so much dissension, and we have these loud voices that are getting all of the attention and disrupting what the business is of schools. So I do not support number 1. On the marijuana issue, I have to say that I have some reservations about it, because I think one of the best ways to address it would be to have a limit to the strength. I can't even tell you how many people I know who have tried marijuana, and the new marijuana is so much stronger, and then they end up having to go to the ER. It's comical in a way, but it's really serious. And so I do think that there are some dangers with it. I'm also not a big fan of the way it smells. I would love to have it where it is kind of treated like cigarette smoke, where, you know, it's sort of like in your home and not out on the street.
You get used to it.
Yeah. However, I do not appreciate the way that it has been criminalized, and I also don't believe in private prisons either. I don't think those are correct. So I think we need to pass that. But again, like I said, I have some reservations with it. But I know marijuana is, like there used to be a guy who talked about legalizing liquor, saying, if it's the demon that causes people to get mad and, beat their wife, I'm against it. But if it's the soothing balm that, creates an atmosphere of joviality, then I'm for it. So you have to say it really depends on how it's used.
Yeah. Yeah, but one thing the statement you made about private prison, and that's that's one of the reasons we believe that it should be legalized, because there's so many people just for smoking a joint is in prison right now, doing
Yeah.
5 and 10 years for just not selling or dealing marijuana, but to just smoke it for recreation purposes, to spending
Right.
big time in prison.
Right.
And
I
so,
just thought that more people are smoking marijuana daily than they're using alcohol daily. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the way it smells. Sorry, but I do know a lot of people who get a lot of benefit from it, especially, not just medical marijuana either. There's just a lot of people who enjoy it and they relax with it. They're not hurting anybody with it. So I don't, but marijuana is a lot stronger now. And one of the other reasons I think it should be passed is so that we can actually do research on it. President Biden has relaxed some of the rules on marijuana usage, but it won't really make a big difference because most of the people who are incarcerated at the state level. So I really do think that they should let those people go and not be benefiting the private prisons off of someone who was smoking marijuana.
I want to say for the record, even though I'm not a marijuana user, never have been, but I'm a proponent of that because I've never seen any negative effects of marijuana that you can report to if you compare it to liquor or any other kinds of drugs. And for more other reasons, just for people that going to jail for something like that is the main reason I would support it. But anyway, I'm going to be voting for that amendment, y'all.
Yes. Yes. And as for the abortion amendment, I am definitely voting for that.
Yeah, me too.
I am not a fan of abortion, but I am definitely not a fan of women dying from an abortion.
Yeah.
So, and some of the statistics that I looked up showed that in one of the states where abortion was recently almost completely banned, in 1 month they had 4,700 abortions, and after the ban they had 10. So that's 4,700 children in 1 month. So that's about 60,000 times however many states are now doing this. That's that many kids, maybe 500,000 children born each year that do not have probably insurance, daycare, good housing, nutrition, all the things that you need to grow up healthy and happy. And I'm concerned that if we were going to ban abortion, we should first of all allow these children to have the health care and the mothers to have the health care. We need to have all of these things in place before we start putting 500,000 children into our system, because that's going to end up on the taxpayers to take care of these kids. And in 15 years, we'll have gangs of kids. No kidding.
It seems, Gia, what did you have?
My internet's in and out, so I'm going to try this. We'll see what happens. Tell me if you can't hear me. But I had the pleasure of also meeting Lisa at Leadership Blue with Sandy and Derek and Christina and the team. And just light and love you were sharing. And she was just sucking it all in. And we're all like, you're going to run. But then we wanted to kind of like sit back and allow her to experience it, because you're the one running. We're behind you. We're surrounding you. But we wanted to make sure that the decision was yours. And we're so excited that you made that decision. So what I would ask you is, when it comes to our young people, how do you think that you running will engage them, whether that's through your experience or your newspaper or whatever? How are you going to do what we wish we knew how to do, which is to engage the young people to make sure that they vote and they have a reason to vote?
let me tell you, that is the biggest issue, is getting people out to vote. I have been watching the news, and the news says, oh, people are just not encouraged about this matchup between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. But listen, I think in the state of Florida, people will be very interested because we do have abortion on the ballot and marijuana on the ballot. I think that's going to bring out a lot of young people, and I believe a lot of young people are going to vote Democratic. So therefore, I think it's a great opportunity to turn our state, if not 100% blue, at least purple. And we can at least have some discussions and dialogue and some challenging of some of these issues that we are just letting the extreme people make for us.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jerry.
I was just going to say, I know you talked about banning books and diversity and all of that with the people that's there now. How, with all these radical people that's there, how would you help change that trajectory of, because now they're talking about going after colleges and everything else.
It's unbelievable. And that's one of the reasons I feel like we really need to have another voice. We could not just let another election go by and not have anyone to even have a choice. That's why, even though I'm not a wealthy person, I did very much feel that we had to have an opportunity to have someone else to choose from, because that's one of the reasons I'm running. We need to have an opportunity to look at these silly things that they're doing and say, I will not vote for that. We have to have that.
Eric? You on mute?
I just realized that for myself. So, what I will just ask, number one, is, two things. How can, let me rephrase it better. The first thing is, what is one message that you would like us to take back to our communities on how or why they should vote for you? And my second is, for those who are tuning in who want to help you in your fight, how can they help you? How can they donate to you? What is that information?
Oh, well, thank you so much. Actually, that is one of the biggest issues, is I've never been the one to actually ask for money, but it does take money to win a race. I think it's important that we have an opportunity in this race to get some sanity back to the state legislature, to try to repeal some of these crazy things. I would love to have people visit my website, which is Newell for Florida, and that's a 4 with a number 4.com. There is a link on there to Act Blue, and of course, I'm trying to raise the money right now to qualify for it to be on the ballot. My opponent has $500,000 in his war chest. That does not intimidate me, however, because that's not a vote. A dollar does not equal a vote in my mind. I think we have a lot of people who need to exercise their right to vote. It's free and it's your power. Use your power to get out there and vote. But of course, I do need money. So I'm not going to say don't give me any money, but I do need money for signs and for, to just get some cards printed and get some things out in the world, because I need to have people know my name. A lot of people do know Don Gates's name. And so, we do have an area that I think we're so entrenched in the status quo and I'm finding that a lot of people are really not aware. They don't know, they don't really engage. They just accept things that happen to them as just another thing. We don't need to do that any longer. We need to take control. We need to make the action. We need to use our power and vote and try to get something that we want to represent our interest in Northwest Florida.
So,
Thank you for that.
So I know this is Memorial Day weekend, and this is a military town. What would you do to ensure that we make sure that we keep the military bases as much as possible here in this area.
Oh, I'm going to definitely support the military. I mean, there's no way we have to have that third leg here. We have the military is one of our main stools, the stools on the our legs on the stool. So yeah, we have to keep our military here. And of course, my father was a veteran. I mean, a long time ago, of course, but of course we support the mission of the military. And one of the ways that we can do that is helping those people who live here. One of the issues that we have is that there's no daycare. I was recently advised that there's a very severe lack of daycare for these families who are serving our country. So we definitely need to support the families that are here, make it a place that they want to be stationed, but also, of course, work with our military to protect their flight areas and keep those from being encroached upon. As I said, I've been in the newspaper business for a long time, and I've met a lot of people in that time who have impressed upon me the importance of keeping the mission as unencumbered as possible, and I intend to do the same thing.
And also the expansion of Medicare disability insurance. What would you do to make sure that it would, you can't do it by yourself, but those are the kinds of things I think need to be talked about in Tallahassee.
Absolutely. As the way it stands now, when it came up before, if I had been in the opportunity to vote for Medicaid expansion, I would have done so. And I hope it comes up again that we get an opportunity to vote for it, because I definitely would vote for Medicaid expansion. I actually have 2 relatives of mine who actually are on Medicaid, and their lives are terrible. It is a shame what is going on. They live in fear all the time, and it's a shame. They already have so many other issues to deal with, and that's another one. Also, it'd be better for our hospitals. There's so many other reasons why we should take that Medicaid expansion, and like I said, I would vote for it.
All right, Derek, you got something?
No, I think what I would just do, are there any last words? What I'll say is you're more than welcome to stick with us for the show if you'd like, but we want to respect your time. And I would just ask 2 things for you to share with our viewing audience: who can vote for you, so what district, what counties the office that you're running for covers, and are there any parting words that you want to leave with our viewers so that they know, hey, that's a great candidate. I want to vote for her. I want to send her some money. I want to volunteer on her campaign.
Well, I thank you so much. Well, first of all, I want to listen to you. I want to hear what your concerns are. I don't know everything. I'm like most politicians. I'm trying to hear from all of you to find out what is the best way to serve you. I'm learning a lot already. Some of the things that, I'm just kind of surprised by how many issues there are. I have been following, of course, what's been going on. And I really just want to give people the choice. I want them to know that there is another person out there who wants to serve in this capacity. We don't have to have Don Gates again. We don't have to have the father of Matt Gates representing us. We can have another person who is actually a thoughtful, reasonable person who will look at all of the facts and try to make the right decision, but also listening to the people that in the District 1, which is all of Escambia County, all of Santa Rosa County, and the extreme northern part of Okaloosa County near Crestview. Okay. And of course, I love your support. I want to hear from you, find out what is the best way for me to serve you. Please contact me. I have an email address. I have a Facebook page. I have a website. All my information is on there. If you have an event, please invite me. I'd love to come and speak. Just thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Any other questions for Lisa or comments?
No, just know that we are here for you and whatever you need. We are excited that there's a choice. And I think that is one of the things that many people thought was not going to happen. When you hear the Gates name, everybody seems to just shy away, and you came at it full force. So we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us this evening. We appreciate your time, and certainly we welcome you back. If any time you want to come back and say, "Hey, I want to talk about this," please feel free to do so. We'd love to have your input and your voice on our voices. So thank you again.
Thank you.
No problem. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Mr. McIntosh, I will turn it back over to you.
Okay, we just want to then we're gonna do the round. Are we doing the round? Yeah, right now. Okay. As you know, Move for Change is having Move for Change is a advocate for social justice and civil rights, and we are having our 27th annual Freedom is Not Free banquet. The theme this year is democracy or dictatorship, with a special focus on Juneteenth and voting rights. We'll be at the Pensacola Improv. That's the Pensacola Improv Event Center, 375 North Pace Boulevard here in Pensacola. And our keynote speaker will be Kyla Janae Lacey, who is a writer, a spoken word artist. She has been featured on and Right About Now, BuzzFeed, Harper Bazaar, Slate Magazine, The Tamarind Hall Show, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, the New York Times, the Atlantic, and the Fox News. Also, her resume include over 100 colleges, visits, and speeches, and a viral sensation on social media platform. We hope to see you there at the banquet. We definitely, that's June the 21st. And the social hours start at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. The banquet start at 6 p.m. So we look forward to seeing you there. We hope and want you to definitely make this event. It's our major fundraiser that we do every year to keep the organization going. As you know, I know Jill will be talking about some of the things that we'll be going down to South Florida with her and Move for Change, and as myself and others, we'll be going with her. So we're gonna talk. I know she's gonna talk about that, but that's some of the things that we'll do to make sure that we get and we vote. We have helping people register to vote, making sure that people get right information to agencies that they may not know about that can help them, whether it's whether they are homeless or other problems that they may have. So again, as Move for Change, you can contact myself at 850-206-3776. Rodney Jones, who is at 850-293-2756. Or Belinda Donaldson at 850-549-6144. For tickets and more info for tickets information. Our tickets are $50. Our ads, full page ad is $175, a half page is $125, and quarter page is $75, and a business card is $50. So be sure to engage with us and become part of this great event that we have every year. And you will hear a great speaker. Kyla is a great speaker and a great poet. So please come out on the 21st of June. We'll see you there.
Hey, thank you, Mr. McIntosh. We'll go to our host with the most, Mr. Bill Snow. What do you have for us this week?
Oh man, host with the most. All right. I really don't have anything. I most definitely plan on being there at the banquet. I haven't missed the banquet in a few years, and I'm looking forward to going down to Orlando here in the next couple of weeks. So I'm just excited about what's happening. That's about it for me.
All right. Thank you so much. Mr. Vernon, what do you have for us this week? I'll meet you.
Got the power to unmute me. Huh? Good. Well, so that's scary. Now you as well as you can mute me, you can mute me too, huh?
Yeah, see, there it is.
On tomorrow, we're having the annual Memorial Day service at Barranca National Cemetery, for the veterans. So if anybody want to go out and honor the veterans that's going to be about 9 o'clock in the morning, between 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning at Barranca's National Cemetery. But that's all I have for right now.
Thank you. I'll save Jill for last, but what I will do is just do my continuing plea for those of you all who are in our viewing audience. And I do this plea for Escambia County, but I certainly know that it is incumbent on everybody who's in our viewing area, wherever you are. The one thing I will tell you is to make sure that you are registered to vote. That is number one. We have, as we will continue to hear us talk about, democracy is at stake. And, you know, our lives, our children's lives, our nieces, our nephews, our grandchildren, whatever relation they are to you, you want to do it for them. Don't buy into the nuance of the foolishness that you hear that, your vote doesn't count, because it absolutely does. And that is evident that your vote counts because they are working not only doubly hard, but I would say triply hard to make sure that every barrier for you to not vote is placed in your way. That is how important your vote is. Nobody works that hard as something that is unimportant, right? So we need to do that. If you are here in Florida, re-enrolling and vote by mail is going to be paramount to the success of our democracy and our contributing factor that we play as a state, but certainly the change that we need to see within the state of Florida. You just heard Lisa talk about the looming crisis that is the property insurance, affordable housing, the expansion of Medicaid. These are things that are changes that need to be felt amongst Floridians immediately. And the only way to do that is by voting. Now, you know, we talk about registering for or re-enrolling for vote by mail. The number one thing that I hear, particularly around our community, I'll even say older community, is that no, I don't want to vote by mail. I want to go in and cast their vote. I don't want any parts of that. You know, we fought too hard to not vote. And while I respect that philosophy of wanting to go in to cast your vote, what I also believe is being prepared. And that preparation comes, and you never know what can prevent you from being able to go in to the polling locations to cast your vote. This gives you another alternative. Just because you sign up or enroll in vote by mail does not mean that you have to vote by mail. It just gives you an option A, an option B, and an option C. You got an option right now. You have early voting as an option A. Your option B is your day of election voting. Let's make voting by mail your option A, your option B being your early voting, and your option C being your day of in-person general election day voting. We have, I will tell you, within Florida, vote by mail is very much protected. So again, you don't want to listen to the tropes and the adages that, oh, it's not safe, it's not secure, they're throwing away ballots, it won't count. It gets there. So I will tell you, if you're in the sound of my voice, if you're in Escambia, call the supervisor of elections office. I'm certain you can do the same for Santa Rosa and Okaloosa, and just tell them that you want to enroll and vote by mail. It's a 3-minute phone call at best for you to re-enroll. takes 5 minutes. It allows you, in most cases, in most counties, to get a sample ballot in addition to the actual mail ballot. So you see what's going to be on your ballot before you have the opportunity to go and vote. So I will tell you that. And last but not least, the volunteering and getting engaged in the political process is going to be paramount. We talk about boots on the ground. We need people to make phone calls, write postcards, knock on doors, getting them engaged, letting them know who the candidates are and giving them the options so that they know that when they vote, they know who they're voting for, and we need to get people out to vote. That's going to take more than us just coming on, on Sunday nights and you listening to us. We actually have to get engaged in that process. So, I will tell you to volunteer with your local campaigns, your local parties. Certainly in Escambia County, we absolutely have room for people. We are calling people, our members are calling people all across Escambia County, telling them those who were enrolled in vote by mail who need to re-enroll to do so. If you want to get engaged in that process, you can also knock on doors. You can write postcards, whatever it is that you think your talent, your skill set best utilized, get engaged, reach out to us. We'll be happy to utilize it because, again, it's going to take everybody to engage and be involved. So that's all that I have at this point in time. Jill, what do you have?
Sure, that's all, Derek. You gave them so much, they needed a notebook.
I know, right?
The only thing I guess I would add to what you said is that they also, because it is that time of year where you have the opportunity, you always have the opportunity to join your local DEC, but if you join in Okaloosa County, well, everywhere you have the opportunity to join your DEC.
What is your DEC?
And there's a certain date. Your Democratic Executive Committee. So that would be Derek is the chair of, Sandy Smith is the chair in Santa Rosa, and Davy Jones is the chair in Okaloosa County. But as you see all these other groups that are on here, the DEC is the home is what I'd like to call it. It's the home of all Democrats in your area. So you have the opportunity to do all that wonderful stuff that Derek just told you, but you can also join and be a committee person or a precinct captain. They have different names. But basically what that means is that in your area, you'll be able to reach out to the Democrats in your area and invite them to meetings, invite them to do a postcarding party, or let's go knock doors together. It gets them engaged. And I guarantee if you ever go to a meeting, you'll hear this. Not as much probably in Escambia, but definitely where we live in Okaloosa and Santa Rosa County, there are always there's Democrats here. I didn't know it. Because everybody's so hidden, trying to hide. I don't want to say they're hiding, but you can have a conversation. You can just say, look at this, and they like jump on you in a doctor's office, wherever you are. They always have another side, another opinion. And so sometimes you tend to just not, keep to yourself as a Democrat and say, okay, I know what I need to do, but I'm going to do it quietly. And we're offering you the opportunity to join a team, to become a family, and to reach out to your neighbors so they can do the same. Now, to the Democratic Black Caucus of Florida that everybody just talked about. We have an amazing event, fun-filled weekend coming up in, I believe, 11 days, starting on Friday, June 7th through the 9th. We will be in beautiful, hot Orlando, Florida, at the Rosen Center, and our 41st annual conference and gala. Our keynote speaker is Justin J. Pearson, and we have a special guest, Representative Justin Jones. And we have a whole weekend full of excitement. We have a presidential State of the Caucus on Friday, and then followed by a wonderful presidential reception, free food, free drinks. We just got sponsored by Kevin Chambliss and ABC Liquors. So you should be able to have a little bit to drink, but don't drink too much because we want you to get up nice and early on Saturday and join us for breakfast. And then we have 3 panels, one which is a men's panel, and then we have the thing that we thought was really needed, at the luncheon where we're putting media and faith-based and candidates together so that they can communicate and kind of see how can we help each other. And hopefully they will work together so that we can get more candidates elected. But also the cry from Black media is that they're not utilized. We're going to address that as well. And then we have a special session.
Sorry.
Derek's email, but we have a special session on Saturday before we go to the candidate extravaganza, which is with at the Rosen Center at the very same time. The Florida NAACP is going to be there, so we're joining forces. It's going to be fabulous. They're excited. We're excited. And then we will go to our candidate extravaganza, where we will have over 20 candidates from across the state. They'll be able to get on the stage, share their platform, share who they are, share their QR codes, share how we can volunteer for them, how we can raise money. And then we'll rest for just a moment, go to a VIP reception with Justin J. Pearson, and then go to the gala evening, which I'm sure you will absolutely enjoy. We are honored and excited to have all of our panelists and Cheryl and Christina all going all at the same time, and many others from the Panhandle. And so it's not too late. If you're interested in going, you still can go. Tickets are being sold at least through June 3rd. Then we have to give food total, so I have to kind of figure out what to do with that. But if you have any questions, you can call 448-488-4042. And you can always go to our website, www.dbcflorida, spell out florida.org. Scroll down, you'll see this wonderful flyer. There's 2 tabs. The first tab takes you to everything you ever wanted to know about the conference, the hotel registration, everything is right there. It's super easy. It's made that way so that you can find out what you need to find out. It gives you the itinerary, and Derek just pulled it up. So you literally go there, you see that's who we are, and you see the flyer. And then right underneath the flyer, the first button takes you to everything about the conference. The second button takes you directly to pay if you want to just pay directly. And so we are excited. Democracy is on the line, and we need to focus. I think we need to regroup and refocus on how do we save democracy, and how do we do it collectively, and how do we put all these wonderful people in the room and say, when we leave, what are you going to do? So conferences are great. They're a whole lot of work. They're a whole lot of work. And they're a whole lot of work for those on the backside. But for those that come, it's great to have fun. But if you don't leave with a plan and some action items, then it's just a conference. And so what we're giving you this year is the absolute best of the DBCF, because we know everything's on the line, and we know that we want our lives to be different, and we definitely want to leave something here for our children and their grandchildren, and we do not want them to. I don't want my children and my grandchildren to have to worry about going to school with gun violence, going to the grocery store, driving down the street, going to the movies, going to church. They should be able to be like we were. And I'm not that old, but still like we were. Like, I didn't worry about that when I went to school at all. I mean, maybe somebody would fight, but they weren't like pulling out guns, and we didn't have drills. The drills we had were fire drills. And I just think that there's just so much out here now. I mean, if you open any news source, there's death every single day. And a lot of it doesn't have to happen. We can't control the acts of God. We can't. We can prepare. You know, hurricane season is right around the corner. Actually, it's right around the corner, June 1st. So we can do the things that we need to do to prepare for that. But the other senseless acts of violence that are going on, and the assault against our democracy is unacceptable. And so I would just encourage you that if you're not at our conference, that you're engaged somewhere somehow. If it's not with the Democratic Party, it can be the NAACP, it can be whatever your organization is. And even if you're not a Democrat, I still would say lead with your heart, and not your heart inside your house, but your heart that looks at how it impacts everybody else. Because it's great for you to be comfortable in your own skin, in your own house, in your own whatever it is, safety of your couch. But you have neighbors, you have family, you have people that are out there fighting for you every day. The military, firefighters, healthcare workers, and they deserve the right to be safe and to be protected. So I would just ask everybody to vote with your heart and be educated on what it absolutely means, not what they're pretending to tell you it means, and who does it impact and who does it negatively impact, and see if you can't step outside of your little square and help your community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Back to you, Mr. McIntosh.
Oh, right. Just, I guess we need to get on with Trump going to the Bronx.
Yeah.
But what was funny about that? They went found two ex-felons, and which is nothing wrong with that. You know, they have rights like everybody should have rights like everybody else. They got two ex-felons to introduce Trump who were black, and he was about booed out of the Bronx over there this past week because he went there talking about you know, he was talking about China. You know, he was talking about dictatorships and all of that to the people of the Bronx, which really blew my mind because how are you going to talk about China, Hungary, and Russia with Putin and Kim and all of those dictators to people in the Bronx? That was kind of like really, and you know. What are you doing there in the first place? I guess he thought that if he went there, that everybody, you know, all these black people were supposed to, because the media have been feeding him all that crap that all these black people are going to vote for him. And he like to get booed out of the Bronx from all the crazy stuff that he was saying. And this dude, he talked about, he predict the unified rights in America, REICH. You know, that's the same language Hitler used, the rights. So what is he talking about? You know, here in America, that but he letting you know, but he said from day one he wanted to be a dictator. So let's, you know, I just want to hear what y'all think about it. Bill, you're on mute, Bill.
We're going to unmute me. Jerry, I really haven't had a chance to follow that situation. I know that it was reported that a whole lot of people that he claimed showed up didn't actually show up, but I think that's irrelevant. I have no idea what he's doing in the Bronx in the first place. I mean, I get it that the media has filled his head with he's rising with black voters. I get that part, but to actually have him buy in and show up and think that he would not be booed out of the place. Even the libertarians this past week booed him out of the place. Booing him has been an ongoing thing here in the last week for him, but for him to actually think that black people that he's really popular and has the wherewithal to show up in the Bronx is just beyond me.
But you know, the media has been feeding him a ton of it, and now, and they was, you know, they did a so-called poll that if the election was today, he would get 20% of the black vote, and I'm like, really? Who is telling? What polls are they using? You know, I mean, who are they? What people are they asking that 20% of black people are going to vote for Trump? And Derek, do you think 20% of black people going to vote for Trump?
Well, I certainly hope, I had this conversation just today that, uh, I am bewildered by Black Republicans and more so Black Republicans in the state of Florida. But you never know. I'm not as anti-poll as Bill is at this point to say that the polls are lying. I don't know. But what I hope, my thought and my prayers, because to your point, there were a couple of things that came out of it. To Bill's point, they talked about, there were 25,000 people who showed up at the rally in Petona Park, which Petona Park don't hold 25,000 people. That's number one. But number two, it didn't happen. It was, the crowd size was very much more negligible, in terms of turnout. And the fact that you are, to me, it's a slap in the face. I don't know how people in the Bronx took it. I spent time in New York, but I don't claim to be in New York. But it would be a slap in my face if you came to me and said, look, I'm like you. And to prove I'm like you, here is Chef G and Sleepy Hollow, two people who have been indicted on felony murder and da-da-da-da. I don't have anything in common with someone who's been indicted for felony murder. I mean, the assumption that, all of y'all are criminals. You're two criminals that support me. It is absolutely ludicrous. It's
horrendous.
Insulting. It's insulting, like that. That really is your approach. I mean, he continues to double down on the insults, and he tells you what he thinks of Black people. He started with, look, I'll put out some shoes because y'all like some tennis shoes, right? So let me get y'all with some shoes. Then, I connect with you because, like you, I've been a victim of an unjust legal system. What are you kidding me? And now here go some murderers. They endorse me. You should too. You black, they black, they're murderer. You might be a murderer. I don't know. It just tells you like what it is that they think. And then, what I don't understand. So it's one thing to do that, right? To say, you have commonality with murderers and people like that. It's another thing. It's a completely different story for you as a Black person to be like, yep, so dude, that's me. It is. I don't understand the concept and this. I don't understand the pandering, and I don't understand the people who appreciate the pandering to Black folks. It is absolutely ludicrous to think that this is what someone thinks of you and that you rock it. And like the amount of, off topic, the amount of Black celebrities who are like recently started coming out, I'm supporting Trump, you should too, it's I don't know, I just don't get it. Like, I guess to me, I'll say if the Republican Party is picking Black people, like say, because in my mind, I don't know how this works, but in my mind, the Republican National Committee is saying, hey, dumb Negro, I got $1 million. If you come out and say I support you, I'll give you this check. And then suddenly these people put out tweets, posts, PR statements to say, I'm rocking with Trump, so they can get their $1 million check. To me, if you're doing that, if they're doing that, I would like, my recommendation is that they get some credible Black folks. So like, because these people that they're getting, I'm like, you don't even like Black folks. So you are not the voice of Black people for me. Like if I'm looking at someone Black to look to, if I'm crazy enough to look to someone who doesn't have political expertise and a range to understand the political concept, you're not the person that I choose to go to look for. But, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
As far as the polls lying. I don't necessarily think that the polls are lying. I just think that the polls can be manipulated.
Right,
All
right.
5 of us were called tonight. They're gonna get a, well, let's see, a 4 out of 5, because Vern going the other way, but it depends on the people that are polled, man. You that 20%. There you go.
That 20%.
Yeah.
But you know what though? If I can say this, Jerry asked that question. Do you think 20% of folks would vote for him? Am my mic on? Yeah, it's on, isn't it?
Yeah, you're
okay.
on.
Okay. But if 20%, I wouldn't put it past us, y'all. I wouldn't put it past us.
Vern, the scary thing is the young folk. That's the scary thing, which is why I would venture to reason with you on this one. That I tell you, man, that's terrible if it's true, but yeah.
Bill, I would have to disagree with you a little bit on that. Yeah, because young people are more astute than people give them credit for.
Jerry, I sure
and
hope you're right.
Yeah, I think they are.
I don't know,
when I look at the young,
Jerry, I've been hearing some crazy talk, man.
I know, those little barbershop talkers.
Okay.
And I don't think it's enough for them to make a difference.
I hope you're right.
Bigger difference. You got to look at all these college students around the country who have now, many of them who have gotten their debt release from debt. What am I trying to say? Anyway,
student loan stuff. Yeah.
Debt forgiveness.
Student loan forgiven. But anyway, I'm looking at them. I'm looking at a lot of these college students and what they've been saying. I think they're a little bit more student. I know there are some out there who are less in tune to what is taking place, who may go that way, or some of them might be just using the media like the media is using them. Okay, right. Yeah, I vote for Trump just to say it. Some people would do that, but but go ahead, Jill.
Yeah, go ahead, Jill.
I have so much to say.
Help me out, Jill.
So, first thing I can't help you. But first thing I can't help you today. I'm sorry, but because I think at first when you said young people, I was like, yes, there is a section of young people. Don't get me wrong. We'll talk about them in a minute. But there are also some people that are not young people that because they feel like the Democratic Party has left them, they don't have a if they're not voting for him, they're not voting, which is voting for him. So we can't put this all on the young people because at least the young people are drawing a line and theirs is all about the war. Or the environment. They know what they want. They know what they expect. What they have somebody else that's in office, they're blaming everything on him, even though that's my internet sensitive. Even though that's not really how it should work. And then I would say, I think we want to believe, like there are educated young people, there are educated older people, everybody can be educated. But if they are not seeing what we know, so sometimes we talk on this show because we know. So we can say, how could a Black person do this? But if you don't know, and the messaging is not to you, and the messaging has never been to you, and every time we say go vote, they go vote or they watch other people vote, and the same thing keeps happening, then we've got to give them, why is it this time? We can give them all the reasons why. But really, for somebody who's heard it year after year, because I used to hear it all the time. I can remember my grandmother, my mom, and them saying, you got to go vote. It's the fight of your life. You got to go vote. Make sure you vote. Make sure you go make your kids vote, Jill. Okay, so this time it really is the fight of our life. But it's almost like they've heard it so much and they've watched us work so hard to get Roe versus Wade taken away, to now have banned books, to then, like, as we're working, it's going backwards. And so I don't know that our our young people see at that as the answer. I'm not saying they're going to vote for Trump. What I am saying is that I don't know that they know that in not voting, because that's what I'm hearing. It's not so much I'm going to vote for Trump. I'm just not voting for Biden. So a not vote for Biden is a vote for Trump. If you sit at home and you don't cast your vote this time, then we will all be in a situation where there could be a horrible situation where you have 45 DeSantis, Scott, Rubio, Gates. Come on, like Florida is going to be hell, like worse than anywhere else, because they're all right here. But they don't know that. And they haven't seen the negativity. They don't necessarily engage in this conversation. They're talking to their friends who are saying, hey, did you see this in the war? Or maybe, Jerry, yes, some of them got their student debt, but some of them didn't, and a lot of them didn't. And so why not? Why did you get it? Why didn't I get it? Is it really, what's Joe Biden going to do for us? What has he done for us? And then they listen to their TikTok and all their little social media that gives them all that anti-negative stuff. And we sit here and say, nope, they're not going to do it. But we're not meeting them where they are. We're giving them information and education at a level where they can understand it, but they're not hearing us because we're not talking to them where they're at, which is, what are you going to do for the environment? How are you going to stop this war? Why are innocent women and children being slaughtered and raped, and we're doing nothing? Do you have an answer for that?
Supporting. They consider it supporting, not doing nothing but supporting.
Do you have an answer for that? Because if you don't have an answer for that, I don't care about anything else, because that's where they are. Jerry, you're on mute.
Well,
yeah, I was going to Heisem call, and he said, a lot of young people move on impulse. But he was saying, we need to do, the Democrat Party need to do the same thing like corporations when they want to, in other words, advertise to the public. They make stuff plain and simple so that people can get it right away. And that's what Jill was talking about, the messaging. And and we've been talking about this forever, the messaging, and how do you get the message out? One of the things that I was reading, and I was listening to a show, and when I went back and looked at what they were saying, and like they were saying, they are not covering the messaging from the Democrat side. The media is not doing it. Like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, when she speaks, you only see a small snippet of what she's saying. You have to, that means you have to go and do research. And that was the problem. They were saying that, many people, if they hear it, but they don't hear it because they're not going to show what she is really saying. So they are not going back and reading, and most people are like 30-second, 10-second, 30-second soundbite people. And so it leaves a lot of the messaging of the Democrat Party out. And the messaging has to be, as Heisem said, we need to get it so it'll be plain and simple. But Jill made a good point. What questions, what answer do we have when someone asks, why are we supporting a war that's not a war, that causing the death of so many women and children, women being raped, and they have to live in unsanitary condition. Many children are starving, going to bed hungry and starving at night, being starved to death. So that's something that we're gonna have to get an answer to. But my answer would also be, in order to help those individuals, you must save a democracy here, so we'll be able to save ourselves, so we can fight another day for the people that we see around the world, because I watch what's going on in the Congos, in Sudan, and other places in Africa where there's no coverage whatsoever of people being abused, being they're starving to death. Many things are happening around the world. There's no focus whatsoever on it unless you watching social media or the African network. So it's really Haiti right here in our own hemisphere are suffering tremendously, and we have done nothing to try to stabilize that country. And we have hired some soldiers from Kenya, which is nowhere near enough to help stabilize a country that size, even though it's not a humongous country, but you need at least 10,000 soldiers in that country to help bring it to where it needs to be as far as stabilization so they can have free and fair elections over there. And then it has to come from the people. It can't be people that we install others installed into the country. They have to come from the people that live there in Haiti. And in the Congo, the same way.
Jerry, I think though, go back to your original, when you first started off about the message. I think that is part of the problem. Our message is so passive, it doesn't get heard. The other side is so loud, it's drowning out our message. And sometimes, you know, I'm an advocate of an eye for an eye, okay? And I just want you to take for an example the drama that was surrounding Congressman Crockett and that other thing.
Yeah.
And, but you see how much attention that got, right? People read, everybody in the world, everybody, even young folks that wasn't paid attention to that, okay? But they asked Representative Crockett on CNN. She said, "Well,
about the quorum."
Yeah, about that, yeah, and about why did she go there, okay? And I think it was Abbott Phillips that asked her this question. She said, "Well, Michelle Obama said that when they go low, we should go high." Well, I'm not an advocate of that. And she basically said the same thing. She said when they go low, and that's the reason they go low, because we don't respond to those things, okay? And I think we should respond in kind. And you're gonna even get lower if you want to. I don't know. If you can't wrestle a pig in the mud without getting in the mud with the pig. Okay?
Right.
And what I'm saying to you and the Democratic Party is that we try to fly so high above the clouds, that's right, above the radar, then we're not going to get seen. That's what I'm afraid of. It's just, I think that this right-wing stuff have drowned out everything, and that's what people are hearing. And they don't hear the other side here. So I think we should get in the mud myself.
I agree that there has to be a time when you say enough is enough.
Right.
And that's what Jasmine Crockett was saying. It's enough is enough. This woman, they say nothing about decorum, like the guy talked about decorum. They said nothing about decorum. She stood up in the well of the House and said stuff to the president during his speech.
State of the Union speech.
State of the Union speech. She have been on the floor saying all kinds of stuff, and nobody checked her. Well, that bad butch body.
Beach blonde.
Yeah.
Beach blonde, bad built,
Butch body.
Butch body.
Butch body.
Bitch.
That shut her down, and somebody called at the airport and said the same.
And she didn't have a comeback at it at all.
Yeah, you want to play the dozen? Yeah, okay, come on. Jasmine saying, "Come on with it." And one of the things on Omar's show, he said, but none of it make policy. But by the same token, that you can't make policy with people like that. These people don't want to make no policy. They don't want to have common ground with legislation or none of that. They're there for themselves only. They don't even care nothing about their own constituency. Because if they did, they'd be working on expanding Medicare in some of the poorest areas, like in Georgia, where hospitals are closing every day over there, because they don't have Medicare expansion or Medicaid expansion. So these are the policy, but people they want you to focus on all this craziness that these people put out there, and they don't have to do anything because that's what get them more money. All of the things that should not even be in the lexicon, it really, but here they are. People like that are running the government of the United States. And that's unfortunate for us, for people, period, around the country.
I can't believe how low things became in our United States Congress and Senate, all around the world, in our politics. I just cannot believe, and it's basically coming from one side. But just so how forgiving that one side is, which worries me. So that means to tell me, even if they're so forgiving, that means people are acquiescing with that. So if that is the order of the day, well, let's join.
I'm telling you. Also, the Supreme Court upheld racial gerrymandering in South Carolina this week. So and the decision was written by who else but Alito, one of the most vicious and vile racists in the sitting on the Supreme Court, and along with the ultimate Negro, Clarence Thompson.
Yeah, Thompson.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying.
He's a Tom.
Why is he
right.
so adamant? Why is he so adamant, Clarence, about destroying the rights of Black people in this country? I can't figure that out. What is it? You sit on and this is why we need term limits on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court should be just like in South Africa when President Mandela and them said, no, you're not going to have no lifetime appointment. You can be reappointed if somebody wants you reappointed, but you won't be, 12 to 15 years, you out. Let somebody else serve. And that's the way it should be. They should not have lifetime. That old adage that they should be there for life, not anymore. Because these people are ruining this country. And the people that are there now, I'll say it and I'll say it again, they are out to overturn everything that was done in the 20th century. And if you look at Section 4 of the Voting Rights Act, that's been devastated. They turned that over. Women reproductive rights, that's gone. I mean, it's just a whole plethora of things that they have overturned that we haven't even been, we can't even keep up with it because they overturn it so much. So we need to make sure that we don't allow them to continue to do that. And that means the reason, and to those people who want to vote for Trump, the reason you got people like Trump and the Marjorie Taylor Greene is because when President Obama won the election, the second, but in 2010, people they were still salivating over the win of President Obama, that they didn't get out and vote. That was the rise of the Tea Party in 2010. And all those people that was part of the Tea Party are now sitting in Congress. And so that's from not voting, that's from not being participating in the process. And this is why we got the people that we have now, like the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and others that's there, that's trying to overturn and overthrow the Constitution of the United States and the democracy.
Jerry, I have I have heard some black folks say this, and it just irks me when I hear it. They blaming Obama for this. Well, Obama hadn't been elected, we wouldn't have been in this situation. Yeah, have you heard that argument? I've actually heard several black people say that.
So that it was too soon. I'm like, too soon. People have actually said that it was too soon. I'm like, that was what they said about when they was when we was fighting they're doing the civil rights movement. It was too soon. You're moving too fast. And that was one of the things that what Martin Luther King said. When you're sitting still, you're in a freeze. You're in a freeze zone. You're freezing. You're in a paralyzing program. You got to get up and do something if you want to heat this thing up. And this is why he said, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. But he understood that you got to put some heat on the steel to bend it. You got to be out there protesting. You got to be fighting for anything to bend toward justice. We have to bend it toward justice. It don't come, like he said, on the wheels of inevitability. We have to do it ourselves. We have to make it happen.
Jerry, just like what y'all, Bill, you can help me with this since you was one of these, you're a Sunday school teacher. So what they say about prayers without work is what?
Yeah, faith without works is dead.
Right, same thing.
Yeah. I contend that we sit around and talk about praying all the time, and I suggest that God is asking us, maybe, y'all can keep on asking me to do some things that you can do for yourself.
Yeah, Fannie Lou Hamer was a prime example. She said you can pray until you faint, but if you don't get up and do something for yourself,
that's right.
Get in your lap.
That's right.
So Derek, I'm putting it back in your hand.
I want to talk just briefly about, because you said something about it, was why is Clarence Thomas the way he is? And in my opinion and my belief, based on what I understand about this man, is that he went to school, and he benefited got him into school under affirmative action.
Yes.
However, he was ridiculed by his white counterparts in law school and said he wasn't there. He was only there as a token or as a benefactor of affirmative action, and the doors that his white counterparts had opened for him, he didn't get it. He was just a black person that happened to be at school, so he didn't have the same benefits that everybody else, which he felt he was entitled to. And he's had a chip on his shoulder about affirmative action, and black people ever since. He failed to understand the benefit that he got and thought that he should have been entitled to more. And as so, he made it his mission to dismantle the thing that gave him the most angst in life, which was his unacceptance of being, I guess, dubbed the special one or the special black, from that perspective. And I truly think that has guided and directed his path as he's moved through life. It's this, need to be, how sometimes people well, it's been I'll say this. It's been my experience that some white people have always said, like, they'll say things like, "Oh, you're not like others. You're different. You're not like the same one. You're not like the other people I know." I think it has been his lifelong cause to be in the category of not like the other people. To be the acceptable black, and being the acceptable black means that you get doors open that the rest of us don't get open. But he has quickly found out, and I think his life has been, when he drives down I-95 and they say, pull him over, and they say, N-word, get out the car, he got to get out the car just like all the rest of us, So You know, I that's just my you know, personal opinion, but you know, I could very well be wrong.
You know,
Yeah,
That's
you
your,
got-
I'm always reminded, y'all, when when Thurgood Marshall retired or was retiring, and
yeah.
they interviewed him, and the question was, well, we need to replace him with somebody that's black. That was the question.
Yeah.
And Thurgood Marshall said, and never forget this, he said, you know what? He says, black snake can hurt you just as bad as a white
Yeah.
snake. So he knew what he was talking about. But
Yeah.
we didn't inferior. This black snake have hurt us worse than what we
Right.
ever, and than any white snake ever hurt us. Okay?
Mhm.
I'll tell you. And we had the opportunity to put a more liberal-minded person on who was white and who was not the Clarence Thomas of the world. And Clarence Thomas, that showed how insecure and ineffective he was. He you know, here the doors of opportunity was open to you because of affirmative action. Not that you didn't have to do the work. You still have to do the work. Affirmative action, it just opened that door. Yeah. But it did not. You could not go there and not do the work. You still had to do the work. You could not go there and just sit back and not be a part of what was taking place in the classrooms, and whether it was in law school. And affirmative action helped put the Lewis Gates and the Clarence Thomas and all of that, open the door to Harvard and Yale more than it ever did. And there was a whole lot of black folks walked in, but they did the work. They didn't, affirmative action didn't do anything for them except open that door. But they had to do the work once they got there, and they became the best at it. You know, just like President Obama. President Obama was there along with his wife and others. They did the work. They didn't go there and say, okay, I went through school. No. You know, it's the same thing. They had to go there and do the work. They couldn't go there and sit down. So
But
affirmative action didn't hurt him at all. What he's doing, what he did was hurt affirmative action and what it stood for. And because he was so insecure around white people, and even it must be to this day, that he's still out to destroy black people rather than the people that was doing it to him. You know.
Right.
I never understood that mentality. I seen that a lot, even in the work world, y'all. And I know some of you can relate to this. You can get a supervisor or somebody in position. It seems to me that some of those, they have a mission to go out and prove to white people that they are not discriminating. So they're discriminate against black folks a lot worse than they do the white counterpart.
Mm.
And it's a mentality that goes on. And where did it come from? I don't know. But I don't care what you say and what you do. You see any black person in any position of authority or responsibility, compare his resume, compare his qualification to an equal white partner, and I bet you it's better. Because we have to be twice as good to get half the stuff that we get. Okay?
Representative Crockett just proved that, my friend.
Yeah.
Amen.
With her credentials, brother, she just proved that.
She was one of the best lawyers in Texas.
She is a bad, yes. She proved it.
Yeah. She's one of the best lawyers in Texas going up against an idiot.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's just common sense. Brother Heisem said, you know, there's a lot of people, you know, like the character that Sammy Jackson played in Django. There's a lot of them like that. So, you know, why are you on that horse?
Yeah.
You know, why are you on that neck?
but you know, I guess it was somebody ever do a study in social psychology or whatever in psychology of the theory behind it. I'm sure want to know why is that is it a house nigga versus a slave nigga mentality or what? I don't know.
Negro. Man, that joke talking about burning the seats on Django, man, that was crazy.
That is funny. Yeah, you do have to. Again, I think it is this quest that some people, especially I think as some people get more upwardly mobile and experience a little bit more success, there is a quest to be white adjacent. And you know, for the life of me, what I don't understand is what the quest to white adjacency gets you. And why there's a need for that validation, I'm cool, so it seems like that is a driving force. To your point, Mr. Vernon, it's why you see some people, particularly people of color, you hear it, they're a lot harder, but they're like, oh, I want you to be better. We got to be better. I'm holding you to a different standard. Nah, you just doing it to be an ass. They ain't got to to a different standard. You're just doing it to be an ass. And I get, I understand what you're doing. Don't try to pee on my leg and tell me it's raining, from that standpoint.
But I think it's deeper than that, Derek, if you ask me. I think it's psychologically deeper than that. I don't think they're doing it just because they're trying to be an ass, but I think that it has been driven in them some kind of way throughout. They learn, and I guess it may be a learned behavior. I'm hoping that a gene has been passed on to anybody, but there's learned behavior some kind of a way that gets them to that point. But I don't understand how and why. But I see a lot of it. I've seen more than what we should see of it, and but it's the desire to please the man. What I think part of it go back to what you said earlier about you want to be the unique one, so they'll think that you the good man, you the good one. Okay, you the good one. You ain't like them other ones, but you the good one, and they'll tell you that too, so they can separate you from it, and then you buy into that crap. And there you are.
But Vern, we were told that by our parents. You had to be twice as good just to be accepted and all of that. We were trying our hardest to be twice as good, and we were, and we still are. But
I think that's a personal motivation. Like you are, I like to be twice as good as everybody else. When I worked, there were times where I clearly knew that I was twice as good, or it was evident at times, or I'm like, Lord have mercy. But I wouldn't put that on someone. I wouldn't make someone I didn't know or didn't have. I'm not going to hold you. Oh, you got to be twice. I'm going to make you be twice as good too.
Right.
To me, that is a personal motivation or something that you pass down within your familial structure, not some random person off the side of the street. That's not, to me. You don't motivate me, because to me, if one of you say that you got to be twice as good, I know that you have my best interest at heart. For someone else, I don't know. You're just an ass. You're trying to, again, separate yourself. Like, look at me, or they're not as good as I am. Look at me, look at me, look at me. It's that whole pick me. It's the pick me culture that we got to do away with. If we could be better at not being pick me's, then we would be all right.
It's just a self-hate thing. Y'all remember that movie back? It probably back in the 70s, 80s. And I can't think of the name of the title of it right now, but it was involved in a military movie, right? And where a black soldier got killed on the base there, right? And
soldier story.
Was it a soldier story?
A soldier story.
Okay, yeah. That you got to see that movie. You got to see that movie.
It's a great movie.
It will tell you a lot about black folks and self-hate.
Adolf Caesar.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great. But.
Yeah. But
how do we get to that point? I don't know.
There's it's a book out on psychological warfare and how it has affected us. It said it involved the planned use of propaganda and other psychological operations to influence the opinion, emotion, attitude, and behavior of opposition groups. It said through the national media outlet, the U.S. government is using fraudulent propaganda to adversely manipulate and shape the mind and collective perception of Black populations. The constant relentless bombardment with deplorable negative image of themselves, that of which African America are so inundated with throughout the U.S. The media is a deliberate design psychological conditioner program. It is an insidious yet very sophisticated method of controlling that condition American Black population, so that an American Black population to accept white domination over their lives by misleading them to believe that they are not themselves their own worst enemy. Believe that they are their own worst enemy. Psychological warfare make African Americans see only the fraudulent worst in themselves. It unrelentingly daily assault on the Black psyche is designed to corrupt African American sense of who they really are, whether it's racial unity, cohesion, and molding the character of self-hatred, engendering self-doubt.
Wow.
So
Also, Jerry, it also go back to that Willie Lynch letter as well, because he said in his Willie Lynch letter that if you can keep the body, but take the mind. Okay.
Take the mind.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And if you can break the female mother, and then she'll break the offsprings. That's what it was in that letter. And so
yeah,
and I think they did a great job at that. And they did a horrendous job on our psyche that been passed on from generation to generation, even to generations. But we're gonna have to learn in some way to kind of break that cycle, some kind of way.
That same letter, Vernon, he also alluded to the fact that if you do this right, it could last centuries, decades, even millenniums. T.D. Taylor on our Facebook stream says the Polish proverb. She says, assimilation is dangerous. Once among the crows, call as they do.
That's a good analogy.
Referring to old Clarence and Tim Scotts and the Candace Owenses of this world.
I'm telling you. And they are among the crows.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. They count too.
As a matter of fact, the guy that bought the bus for him in his house, his last name is Crow. Almost sure of it, yeah.
And you just, I don't know who it was that just said it, but you brought her up. Candace Owens, for the people who go down that path, right? I think she should be your red light, your stop sign, right? Because she was all simping for Republicans and simping for all things that are anti-Black, right? And then they put her out quick, fast, in a hurry. They were like, nope, you gotta go. And she's like, and again, that's that pick me, I want to be unique. And she's like, well, wait, you picked me, I'm unique. And they're like, nah, you're a Negro. Sorry, I don't understand what you didn't get about this. And now it's like, oh, wait. And now you see her like trying to make the rounds, like, let me see if I can do some, let me play on the forgiveness of Black people as we are forgiving people. Let's see if they'll welcome me back. And I hope that we have the smart or the brilliance and the education to say, nah, not this time. You out on your own. I don't think we need to follow in the teachings of the Lord and say forgive. Nah, you stay on over there. That's where you wanted to be. You stay on over there. We got you. We see you from a distance.
But you're right, Derek. Here is a person that has helped commit psychological warfare on the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
By the language she used, the words she used, where she stood, on issues of concern of in the Black community. And now she want to come to the backyard cookout, you know.
Right.
You want to the reunion. No, no, you stay over there. You done did some irreparable damage to our community.
Mhm.
And now you know, sometimes it's just something that we cannot accept and we shouldn't accept because she's one of them. And you know, the Clarence Thomas of the world, you can't bring them to the cookout because they're gonna turn on you first chance they get. You know, they're gonna turn on you again. So as soon as they, you know, like they pick me, here I am, you know, pick me, you know, and you back wondering what happened again. No, no, so no. Jill, we haven't heard from you on this.
I was hoping y'all were gonna change the subject, but that's just me. I wanted to let y'all take that everywhere you needed to take it. I don't think I don't have an answer for it, and I was sitting back trying to think like maybe our young people do, and then I thought about when Derek said, you know, well, I think somebody else said that, you know, our parents always said, and I know, I absolutely know for all of my kids, that was like, you have to do at least 4 things. It was automatic. Like, you got to be better than everybody else. So you can play your sports. That's fabulous. You're going to sing, or you're going to do art, or you're going to do something else. You got to find 4 things. So, of course, they pulled all the sports they could pull. And then there was still something else they had to pull. I don't care what it is for the boys. Jenna found her, but they always had to be better. And it's unfortunate that that's the way life is, but that's the way life is. And so for me, that's where my mindset was like, you can't change it. It's not changing. So we can sit here, we could discuss it, we can say how bad it is, we could say it's terrible. You're still going to have those Clarence Thomas type people. And then you're going to have people like us that are like, hey, we get it. We know what we got to do. We're going to get it done.
I agree.
I'm reminded of Leroy Boyd used to, the first time I ever heard that expression, I heard Leroy Boyd say one time. He always said, I can't be controlled, but I can be managed. We're going to have to learn to manage those situations. We might can't control them, Jill, but we definitely need to try to manage these situations to the best of our ability, because just not doing anything is just perpetuating the problem.
And I agree, but remember, I was sitting back trying to think, what can we say to young people? I can see a young person saying, hey, you guys have been talking about this for what, 100 years? What are you controlling? How are we controlling it? How do we manage it? What do we do? So I'm not disagreeing that we can't sit back and just say, oh, it's just going to be this way, so we just have to make ourselves better. But I also think that I just remember, I'm going to say this. I remember my grandparents. My grandfather was a Baptist preacher, 33 years. Took us to church every darn day there was in life. When we spent summers there, I think we went to church every day. And I just remember the fight that they were in, because I didn't live that life. I was here after all of that. So, but now I feel like we're back in it. Like, racism is so freaking right here in your face. It's stabbing you in your back. It's slapping you in your face. You eat it. I'm just tired, and I'm young compared to a lot of people. So if I'm tired, I can't imagine the fight that y'all go through. But I also would say, think about our young people. They don't think like we think.
But you know what? I hear that. I agree with you. I hear that same argument from young people. Say, what are you doing? What are you gonna do to change it? You know what I did back when I was their age, okay? And I was living in segregation. What I did was I went and registered my ass to vote. Okay, things couldn't change overnight, but it's subtly changing. It ain't changing the way I want it to be, but yeah, you can do something. But just not to do anything. That was my way of helping changing things. I registered to vote and I voted, and I didn't always get my way, but it made an impact. It's like you're saying, it's like that's throwing sand into the ocean. You know, you think you're gonna make a difference, it may not make a difference, but that sand you threw in there made a difference. Okay, So that's what I'm saying.
And I agree, but I think, and I'm not going against you, I'm just thinking like we spoil our children. That's the first problem with our young people is that their parents gave them everything they needed instead of making them work harder for it. Bill, you know what I'm talking about? Because you do it with your daughter, I do it with mine. We try. We always want their life to be better. So in that, they have immediate gratification. They expect things to happen right now, right now, right now. And when it doesn't happen right now, they watch us struggle. They sit back and watch us argue. They watch us have 6 different opinions on one thing. They watch stuff not happen. And then they sit back and say, and so why should I do it like you? They don't take the wisdom and the learned situation that we learned from because maybe we went about it the wrong way or whatever. They don't take that. They only see that we've been fighting this fight. You've been telling us to vote for 18 years, Mom. I can't, from I'm 1 year old till now. You've been telling us to vote, and we voted, and we voted, and we voted, and look where we are now.
Well, like I said, same thing. But I voted when I was 18 years old. I'm 72 right now. Okay, look at nothing gonna change overnight. That's what I tell young people, and that's what I insist as a parent. I might not have very control over anything else, but I did my children like my father did me. He made sure his children registered to vote, and not only did they register to vote, he demanded that we go and vote. Okay, and that's what I did with my children. Not only did I make them register, but I ensured that they took them to the polls and made sure that they vote. Okay, and vote the right way. I wouldn't, not just. I wouldn't train them to vote the other way. Okay, I want to vote the right way.
Right.
Exactly. So, but that's the only thing that we got control over. Okay. Now we can manage the other stuff, but I had control over that, and that's my contribution to my control of what I can do to help the situation. Okay.
Vote and groom them to take political office to bring about real change. Hey, from my live Facebook stream, T. Taylor reads, I have an issue why blacks can be manipulated so easily. Our people have experienced enough to see and hate to see through the propaganda disseminated in our neighborhoods. We need to be more accountable. T.D. Taylor on our live Facebook stream.
Okay.
Our time is just about up, y'all. I'm gonna throw a few books here. See, that time we got
Don't
away.
put us in jail again now, Vern.
Vern, be able to put us in full Facebook jail. This book is by Michael Ayers Dyson, Debating Race with Michael Ayers Dyson, which is a great book. And then The Warmth of Other Summers by Isabel Wilkerson is a great book. I know a lot of people probably have already read it. And I don't know where I did with my other book, but we'll stay with that. And I'll turn it back over to Derek.
Well, certainly it has been a pleasure being with you all this week. Certainly, again, thank you to Ms. Lisa Newell, Democratic candidate for Florida State Senate District 1, for being with us. Make sure that you support her in any way you can. Go to newellforflorida.com to check her out. Tell her if you want to volunteer on her campaign. Let's just get in the fight. You've heard a lot from us this evening, and you will continue to hear a lot from us. We have, as we have tried to commit to making sure that you are made aware and abreast of all the candidates that are available within the state of Florida and elsewhere, if we can, to get them in front of you. So you have see the candidate through our lens at this point in time. So again, we want to thank you for tuning in with us to Our Voices. On behalf of all of the co-hosts, we say
Darren, can I say something before you leave? I want to know, okay, as far as those amendments and so forth, and I want folks, if you can't come to bring yourself to vote for you, okay, vote for somebody. Vote it for somebody else, because those amendments can benefit a lot more people than just your personal selfish self. You're going to not vote because you don't like marijuana, you don't like whatever those amendments are. do it for somebody else then, okay? And I think it would be for the greater good. That's all I got. Thank y'all.
Yep.
I want to thank two geniuses that I know, and that's Jill and Derek.
Oh, I don't know about genius, but I'll take it. I
I was like, oh no.
I mean,
Thank you all for tuning in.
but I know.
Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you next weekend. Have a great week, everybody. Take
Good
care.
night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.